What's up, YouTube? Back at you with another video. We're here with episode 204 of Power Raising Kanan. And basically, I wasn't even going to watch the season, and I probably wasn't even going to do any reactions on Raising Kanan, mostly because I was a part of the hate mob for Raising Kanan, and I thought it wasn't that good a show. I did watch the first season, and I was kind of like on the fence about it. I thought it was aight, but it wasn't a situation where that I was like, oh, yo, this is the greatest show ever or whatever, because a lot of people were saying that it was better than Ghost. In my opinion, it's not. I think it's better than Tommy, Power, book 4, Force, or, whatever it's called, because I didn't like it. Like, it was boring. But basically, I'm basically going to just give my reaction on people saying that Raising Kanan is a bad show, and I'm going to give my thoughts on, the characters and what happened in episode 4 and a little bit on the episodes prior to that. So without saying too much more, let's get into it. So first of all, I think the character who stands out the most on Raising Kanan, period, and I think he's probably one of the best actors, and I think that I was just a bit surprised to see that he was so good, is Joey Badass, the actor who plays Unique. And the thing with him is that he's got like a charisma and a presence about him that it just stands out in comparison to everybody else. So it's like every time he's on camera, he commands the scene, and I like that about him. I like his character, and I think that Raquel, I think she's stupid for letting him go, because here's my thing with all movies, TV shows, or whatever. You always kill the bad guy. You don't let the bad guy, win. You don't let the bad guy go, because what happens is you'll destroy 99% of him, but that 1% will go back to 100%. So I feel like everything that's happened in season 2 so far is basically setting him up to be like a problem again. So it's like he might not be that big a deal right now, but the reason why they're constantly showing him is because he's going to be a problem at some point. To me, he's like a cancer cell or like a tumor that won't go away. So like now he's in remission, but he's still there, and he has the potential to come back and ruin everything. And I think it's gonna come to a point where like the power, get it, is gonna shift, and it's gonna be in a situation where Raquel does not have any more power and he does. So that's my thought on Unique. Shout out to Joey Badass, because he's really doing his thing. I think he's just that rare example of an artist that can go on television and transition into acting, but he can actually act. So I feel like if he stays with it, he'll become a really decent television actor. Another character that I like is Marvin, and I see that he serves as the comedic relief for the show, because if he wasn't on Raising Kanan, like if there was no Marvin on Raising Kanan, that show would be just as boring as Force. Because the thing with Force is that there's Tommy, he's not a funny character. If you're laughing at Tommy, it's not for him actually doing something funny. It's like he's shooting somebody in the face, or it's some sort of cruel, ironic humor, and not actually something that's supposed to be funny or that you could label as like comedy. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know too much about him, because the problem with these characters is that they don't all have like a hook. It's like they all need each other, but not one character on Raising Kanan could really stand out on their own, and that's a problem. See, when you compare Raising Kanan to Ghost, every single character, you're invested in them, right, as an individual. So even if, let's say, you might not like anybody else on that show, but let's say you could watch Ghost just to see one character. So like, let's say if I didn't like anybody on Ghost, but I liked Kane, I could watch that show just to see him all the time, because he just has his own subplot that is, captivating enough to get me invested in this character. See, Raising Kanan, they don't know, not one character on the show actually has that. But what I like about him is that he says certain things that resonates with me as a person. Like, now I'm not even gonna front. Like, I don't even remember what he said, but basically he just, I like that about him. I think he's just a good comedic relief for the damn show. Raquel, in my opinion, I think that she's a good mom, and she's a bad mom at the same time. Now here's what I mean by that. You see, Raquel, she she's a strong black woman, and I like that about her. She's almost like, Monet in a way. But the difference between Monet and Raquel is that I feel like Monet doesn't let the fact that she's a strong black woman, she doesn't let that override like common sense. And she doesn't let certain things get to her head. I feel like she knows when it's time to pull back. Whereas fucking Raquel is like she's always trying to do too much, and I don't like that about her. And I feel like that's at the cost of making mistakes. Because what I thought was really funny was when like all 12 of those Italian guys pulled up on him. Not one of these dudes looked like they were over like 5 feet. Like they all looked mad short. I think there was like one guy that actually looked like he was, above 5'5", but all of these guys look short. I was like, when they got that shot, it's like, who did they think that they was intimidating? Like, these guys are not intimidating at all. So, in essence, I wasn't even intimidated by them as like a viewer. So it's like, if I wasn't, then I don't expect Raquel as a character to be either. But the thing is, I think he's her brother, the guy who used to be on, I'll remember their names for the next, video. But the guy that was standing to her right, I don't even remember his name, but the dude who likes to, do the studio music thing, he was trying to be diplomatic about it, whereas she was being mad reckless. And I'm like, yo, that reckless behavior and attitude is going to cost you in the long run. She might not see it now because, see, here's the thing. And this is the thing with power. The characters that have the most influence on the show are the characters that play chess, not the characters that play checkers. Like, let's say Kane. He wanted to get rid of Tariq, but the way that he was going about it like a checkers player and not a chess player. Because in chess, you might have to move your pieces back. You might have to move sideways before you can move forward. You have to be strategic. Whereas in checkers, it's not that same type of, methodology and freaking process. And that's the thing where it's like, it's just, I don't see things ending well for her. Maybe not in this season, but I know eventually she's gonna die. Like Raquel is gonna die, clearly. And so that's my thoughts on Raquel as of right now. Kanan. Here's my thing. Kanan doesn't have any sort of personality on that show, in my opinion. And maybe it's because I'm comparing him in my mind to 50 Cent. But his character, in my opinion, is like, I don't know, like it's called Raising Kanan, but they've made it so that way we're paying attention to pretty much everybody else but him. Like he doesn't like stand out at all, in my opinion. And he reminds me of like Gravy from the Notorious movie. Like he gives me like Notorious B.I.G. vibes rather than 50 Cent Kanan vibes. And I guess he'll eventually get to that point, but right now it's just, I don't know, like he's more so a background character. So I feel like they should change the name because we're paying so much attention to everybody else and then we're not paying attention to this guy, and to me that's not good. I think like the only thing that stood out to me was when Famous was throwing the party at his new apartment. And then the girls that pulled up, like one of them, she actually looked pretty good. I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, all right, cool. But outside of that, I'm like, I make no note of anything that happens to him because nothing's really happened to him. It's like, it's just like he stole money from them, and then nobody noticed it. They didn't suspect him, or maybe they will catch him down the line because I think someone asked him, oh, where did he get the money from to get the apartment? And then I didn't even remember what whomever said. So it's like a lot of things kind of happen on the show. And it's easy to miss certain things because the show is kind of missing like a hook. And it's something that the characters individually don't have, and then they rely on each other. And that's a good thing, but that's also a bad thing in terms of, storytelling. Kanan's dad, I don't even know his name. But Omar Epps, I actually like the fact that he's on the show, and I feel like he presents a good element of drama to the show, because I think the conversation that he had, with Kanan in the car where he told him that, he was his dad, I liked that moment between them. But what I liked about it had everything to do with Omar Epps and very little to do with Kanan. It had very little to do with the actor that played him. It was just like he was just kind of sitting there making faces, and Omar pretty much kind of carried the scene. But I like him. I like the fact that they didn't kill him off. I felt like if they did kill him off in the first season, it wouldn't have been good for the show. So I like that he's there now to, foster another side to the mindset of Kanan, because he went to jail and was talking to like this dude who had like the worst attitude and was trying to imply that this other guy was his pops. And in reality, he's like, all right, well, you know, I'm comparing what he said to what Omar or his father said, and there's really no comparison. That's why he went back to his father. And I feel like, you know, Raquel, another thing, I feel like she shouldn't lie. I think she should just tell him, you know, what's actually going on. And I think it would serve their relationship a lot better if she wasn't hiding so much, because it doesn't take a rocket science to know that she's like the queen pin of everything that's going on. So at this point, if she were to trust him to kill his own dad, then she should trust him with information. Because what's going to happen is when he finds out that his mom is just lying to him the whole entire time, their relationship is going to suffer for it. And I just feel like, you know, if that happens, you know, that's all on her. I don't even know his name, but Quincy Diddy's son, I feel like he's a bad actor. I believe that they should have gotten somebody else to play that part. He just, I don't know, like there's, and I'm not even trying to like hate or none of that, but there's just something like off about the way that he acts. Like I feel like he's just portraying himself. I feel like he acts like that in real life. I don't, you know, like when every time he's on camera, I'm just like, that's Quincy, that's Diddy's son. He can't act. His character to me is like really corny, and you know, I hope he gets shot on the damn show. So here's my response to the criticism that Raising Kanan gets. Now, the first episode of season 2, I was telling myself out loud that the show is trash, and I was like, yeah, the pacing is, you know, not good. But I feel like in its totality, I believe that it's actually a decent story that should be told. And I feel like where everything that's happening, I feel like it's going to tie back into Ghost in some way, shape, or form, because the intro to the show is like Power Universe. They have that super fancy thing. So everything is interconnected. And I feel like it's necessary, because let's say some characters from Raising Kanan might pop up in Ghost. And I feel like that would be really cool. So I think that people who don't like the show, I feel like if you have a bit more patience and you have an appreciation for storytelling, just give it a chance. And I feel like it's to be enjoyed. Here's another thing. I don't like Jukebox. I didn't like her in the original Power, and I don't like her now. And the reason why, the reason why I don't like her is because, like, instead of calling her Jukebox, they need to call her Basket Case, because she just has this deranged, ashy, you know, crazy look on her face all the time. Like she don't like wear lotion. You know, her skin, her hair is like always like nappy. She's always looking like she's in a rush, or like she's smelling something bad, or like she's scared. Like I don't like anything about her character. Now on the opposite side, I feel like maybe the reason why they present her like that is because she's someone who is a product of her surroundings. And unfortunately, it's like you have a talented young black girl, and it's like, it's hard for her to bring that up and grow in the right direction, because she's in scenarios where she can't do that. I'm not sure if Marvin is her uncle or if he's her father or whatever, but I do know that things got physical between the two of them from what happened in the first season. So I understand why she's not, like, she doesn't want to have a relationship with him. So every time, you know, she crosses paths with Marvin, she pretty much like just ignores him and walks away, and I understand that. So on one end, it's like I just hate the way that she looks and her presentation, but then I also empathize and understand her character. And the other thing too, one thing that Raquel said that I do agree is that she said family is earned. You're not just somebody's family, like, just because family is something that you earn. And there is something to be said about Raquel's relationship with her actual mother, because when she found out that they were back in contact with each other, her reaction was worth note. So I was like, all right, okay, there's something there. And honestly, I think the way that Jukebox actually ended up turning out in Power, like in the future, something bad is going to happen. Like, nothing ever really ends well for characters in Power except for Tariq. Like, Tariq is the only one that, like, ever gets like a general happy ending. Everybody else is constantly going through it and facing consequences except for him. So no one in Raising Kanan is gonna get a happy ending whatsoever. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on episode 204. I'm a bit rusty. I haven't done a reaction or episode recap in a long time, so forgive me. But anyway, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Good luck.